All right, a very good morning to all the participants today. Right, so welcome to our AutoCount Club Payroll Express version. So this is our Express version training. So today we'll be covering all the basics of the system, meaning that in order how to get started, how to process basic salary, how to add employees, and so on. So I will cover the bare basics to get you started. If you're coming from a different or most of that, right? Um, the prerequisites of this class is that you have already created your account and you have already completed your data migration because we'll jump straight into the system and learn how to process payroll and so on. Right. So the topics that we are covering today are here. So total of 5 chapters. First chapter we'll go for the initial settings to set up the company to ensure that all employees are there and all that. Your leave management is a chapter 2. Chapter 3 will go to employee maintenance, adding or editing employees. Chapter 4, processing payroll, your month-to-month basic stuff. And finally, chapter 5, which goes over your reports and also your once a year thing, which is leave and payroll closing and also EA form. Right? So these are the 5 chapters and we shall get started now. Okay, so for chapter 1, which is our initial settings. So with this initial setting, if you're coming from our existing on-premise system, there is nothing much that you need to do because you should already be have completed the migration lah. So meaning that there is nothing much to do, but we'll just go over the basics just in case you need to change something. Right, now what we're going to cover here is our company profile, user access, general maintenance, notification settings, and also Excel. So for general maintenance, there are a few things that you should be familiar, which is where you go to payroll maintenance and all these maintenance items. So it will be very familiar, very similar, so that it's easier for you guys to go through and take a look, right? And their company profile also similar. Now let's go to company profile first. So this is the what we call dashboard of the system, right? And most of the maintenance or items will be located under tools. So as you can see, if I highlight tools, we'll go to company profile first. All right, so within company profile, the data, if you've done our migration, most of the data, or basically all the data will be updated here. However, you should be coming here to take a look, double check. Maybe there is something that you want to update. For example, your HRDF contribution. You might not need to contribute previously, and then you might want to adjust the percentage. So here you just key in a few information like your company information. You go through tab by tab. So next you company address. So company address, make sure it's updated and the contact person information is also correct. This is important for your reports, especially the government side ones. So this information will be printed on the reports. Next, you can go to statutory information and update and check your EPF, SOCSO documentation and info, right? Contribution and payout settings. Here we have a list on how does the system calculate your contribution based on which figures, the basic salary, bonus, and so on. It will migrate the data based on previous settings. However, if you wish to go back to the government default, you can just click on reset default. All right. Now we go to bank accounts. So bank account is where the system will be able to generate your bank files for you. All right. So what you do is you click on add new bank. And then, or you can click on the pencil icon to edit the existing bank, right? So you choose which bank that you are using and fill up the information based on the requirements. So always remember there's this extra icon, click on other information, and the system will ask you to key in any relevant items. So for Maybank, if you're using M2E, the corporate code, client batch ID. If you're using MAS, you need an originator ID. So check it out and make sure you have all the information filled up. Right. For formats, there's nothing much. This is your running number for your employee code. And finally, attachment. So this attachment allows you to share files and folders within the system. So something like your company handbook, HR policy, and so on can be shared in the system. Okay, now we've gone through everything, all right? And then always remember, once you have done any changes, for example, I've changed the bank account from here, I will need to click on the small save icon here, right? So click on that. And then once you're done with everything, you want to leave this page, always remember the top right corner, the save button, you need to click on it. right? So click on save, and the system will only save the data that you have to make some changes lah, right? Now we go to user access next. Again, it will be located under tools and then user authorization. All right, so with this system, since it's a cloud-based solution, it's easier for you to have multiple users, or what you call multiple admins lah. All right, so now currently I have two admins here. One is the main admin and one is maybe my assistant. All right, so let's say my assistant does not have full access to everything within the software. All right, he or she might not be able to see everything. So what I do is I go and look for that stuff's email, right? So in this case, it's this one. So I click on edit. Right. So when I'm editing, what I'll be able to do is I will be able to select which platform or which module this employee can take a look at. For example, I can go over to payroll management and I can see, all right, what I want him or her to not do and able to do. So payroll process, I might not want him or her to edit or view this. I can turn this view on or off for this particular. So we have a lot of options here. You can take a look and make sure you adjust accordingly, right? Then there is also these authorized employee groups, the second tab. So these authorized employee groups, that since the system, you can split employees into groups. So these employee groups allows you to set up different entitlements and so on as well. So what I can do is not standard procedure is that we split into employee type, right? So like maybe have foreigner staff, management, and also standard employees. So what I can do is I can select, right? So if I unselect these two, meaning that this HR admin will only be able to take a look at management stuff, right? So I can actually select all these different categories for him. Okay, now once I again make changes, remember to click on the save icon when done, right? Now we'll go to general maintenance. So general maintenance are all the standard tags that you have available. For example, your leave type, department, employee group, and so on. So what we're going to take a look today is maybe we're going to go and take a look on our leave type. All right, so since this system has a leave module that you can use to keep track of employees' entitlement, so we will just come and take a quick look. All right, the system will first have a few basic leave types available, and if you're migrated over, your data will also be brought up here. So what you can do is, again, you can edit or create a new one. So it will look very similar. So if I click on new, you like this. If I click on edit, I will be able to edit the existing one. So code is just something, it is a short form like annual leave AL, and then limits we have a few kinds. So we have unlimited, meaning there's no entitlement. Limited without advance, meaning that they cannot take their advance, and finally limited with advance, meaning that if they have finished their entitlement, they can still apply for leave. Right. Other than that, you have a lot of calculation methods. So this will not go in depth, but most of the leave calculation method that companies use out there, we do support it. Right. So these are the leave types available now. So we've already created our leave types. Now we want to ensure that the correct employees has the correct entitlement. Again, we go to tools and then we go to employee group. So this is the employee group that you've seen earlier, where I can split my employee type to which different group. So we have three groups here. So let's say I want to edit my management group. I want to ensure the entitlement is correct for them. So again, I can go click on the pencil icon to edit. Or if I want to create a new one, I just click on add new. Right now, so once I click on edit, it'll bring me to this management group, and then all their leave types are listed here. So all of their leave types are here, and then I want to edit, for example, annual leave. So I can edit. So for example, this one I have not set up yet. In order to set up, I just click on add here, right? So now we just go back to annual leave. So for annual leave, how to do the setup? Very simple actually. So we have from and to, the entitled, and BF. BF is brought forward, carried forward, right? And then expiry date is the expiry date for the carried forward leaves. So for companies, normally what you have to do is, for example, your companies, how do they calculate the entitlement? So some companies, they say, all right, from their join date until their first year, they get 16 days. So here is what I do. From 0, so meaning that when they join, until their first year, they only get 16 days of entitlement. BF meaning carry forward. So let's say they can only bring half. So I bring 8. And then finally, expiry date, I will just, if I want my leave, my carry forward leave to have an expiry, then key in that here. Again, I'll go to the next step, meaning that from their first year until their third year, okay, they have different levels again. So 20 the entitled days, and 10 carry forward. And then finally, third year. So let's say my company, the entitlement ends at the third year. So meaning on the third year and above, you get same limit, same entitlement. So what I just do is that I click 3 for the from, and then end I put at 99 lah. So this is like the maximum limit, right? Entitlement 24 days, and then carry forward is 12 days. That's it. So again, once you make the changes, remember to click on the save icon, and then you can edit others. And if you're done with everything, you need to click on the save icon on the top right. Right. So always remember, edit, click on the pencil icon. Once you're done, click on the save icon, and you're done with that page, click on the save icon. Right, now we will go to notification settings. So this is something new that you do not have on the previous system. So in order to go to that, again, you go to tools, you go to notification settings. All right, so with these notification settings, what you have is a few reminders, right, for a few items that the system can remind you to ensure that you do not forget some important items. Like for example, confirm date. So in order to turn on this confirm date reminder, you just click on this, you turn it green, and this is active. Next, you can select how does the system remind you. You want it to remind you by the mobile app, email, or the website. So if you're on the website, it will show you what is notification tab here, right? Now, remind me after number of days from join date. So for example, your company says after they join, they have 2 months of probation, 3 months of probation. What you need to do is you just select the dates or number of days here. So you can go up to 180 days. So it shouldn't be an issue for most of you guys. And then you can also set a specific remind time. Let's say I want to remind myself at before lunch, all right? So that I can remember to do the task. So let me put it 12:30. And then I can also set a reminder too. So these are the two admins within the system. And let's say I do not want to handle this. This is handled by another staff, right? So I assign another staff, and then the system will remind them 60 days after the join date and at 12:30 to remind to this particular admin lah. All right. So what other reminders we have are birthday reminders, work permit expiry, leave expiry, and so on. So another few items are like your EPF social notification. If you have staffs or employee who are just past their working age or maybe 60 and above, where they had to change to a different category, new EPF category, and so on. And finally, there is also a passport expiry notification. Right, so very simple notification to remind you on certain items. And finally, we're going to cover Excel import. Right, Excel import again, this is normally not required, right, because you already done the migration. Again, how to get to the Excel import is under tools and then under Excel import. So under this Excel import, you have upload and template tab. So go to template tabs and you have a few templates. So now maybe you have a lot of employees joining in, or you have you want to set up a new allowance for your employees. So what you can do is you can download the template. For example, new allowances, I download the allowance template. I key in my allowance type and I can submit to the system. So key in into the Excel file, upload back to the system. So we will not get into detail, but because it's very simple, and if you need assistance, this one you can get from our support in the future, right? So that's about it for chapter 1, all the basic initial settings. Now, we will go over to chapter 2, which is leave management. Very short and simple chapter. So, leave entry, credit, and balance. Right? Very simple. Let's take a look. So, for leave, it will be located under human resource. So, under human resource, you'll see these 4 tabs. Leave entry, leave credit. So, leave entry and leave credit are very similar, but there's only one small difference. Leave transaction and balance is allowing you to quickly view your transaction or balance without generating a full report. All right, so now let's go to leave entry. So leave entry is where you employees apply for leave and you want to upload or update the data into the system. This is because at the end of the year, you can get a proper report, or you can just easily check your employee balance within the system, right? Okay, so now for employees, you want to apply leave, you click on add new. Okay, so the system will ask you, do you want to deduct or append the leave entitlement? So deduct meaning that, okay, employee take MC, you want to minus from the entitlement lah, so you go for deduct. Then adjust is that if you want to provide a replacement list for your staff and all that, you click on the add icon lah. So now you do the one that is more common, which is deduct from employees. Okay, now I selected deduct for employees. First, you need to key in the reason for this deduction. So let's say it's an MC lah. So I put a sick, right? And then leave type. So this is an MC, so I will select my medical leave. And then the system will also ask for an alternative leave type. This is because if when you go through for this MC and the system detects that, oh, this employee does not have enough entitlement, what should you do? So you can then select unpaid leave. Meaning that if there is no more medical leave, the system will assign this as an unpaid leave. Right? Attachment, so you can attach any documentation if needed. So maybe the employees provide you with an MC, you can submit the MC file for future references. Now, you can select a full day. For example, I want to select for, let's say, today, so 19th of May. I can select one date here, or I can select multiple dates, right? And then if this is a half day thing, so let's say it's half day for today, I select the 19th, and then I can choose PM. So meaning that they are working on the first half of the day, after lunch, they go back. All right. So you have two options. And then finally, you can select the employees. All right. So here you have the list of employees. What you can do is you can search. Let's say I search for Tan, and I have Tan Mei Mei. Select Tan and click on save. And that's it. The system already deducted their half day medical leave from their. Okay, now let's go and take a look on the difference. So just now we see a leave entry where I mentioned that you can add on leaves. So for leave credit, you can only add on leaves and you can set an expiry date. So if you use leave credit, you add on leave, you do not have an expiry date. So if you want to provide an extra, let's say replacement leave, right? Let's say I want to provide replacement leave under their annual. Okay, and I want this leave to have an expiry date, meaning if they do not apply, it will burn. All right, okay. So let's say I put on the 31st of May and I provide one day. And then I select again, I go for May. So meaning that when I save, the system will provide them one extra replacement leave and the leave will expire on the 1st of May. Click save and that's it. I have provided an extra leave credit for this employee. Okay, now you go to leave transaction and balance. So leave and transaction balance is more of something that you want to quickly check without getting a report. Because if you want to print your report, just go over to report section and you can view all of their entitlements and so on. That's a full report. We'll cover that later. But for leave transaction, what you can do is quickly select an employee. I say, I feel like, oh, this employee taken a lot of MC. I want to verify that hunch. So I can go to leave type, I can select medical leave, I can search. And the system will list out all the medical leaves that this employee has taken before. So if I want to view a little bit more, I can click off the leave type, meaning that it will display all of their leave. So I click on search, the system will then display what kind of leave they have taken before. So this is a quick and easy way to just go through everything. And then for balance, as the name suggests, you can just take a look on certain employee and view all of their entitlements. So annual leave 16 days, I provided 1 day credit and so on. So everything will be listed here. Right, so that's it for chapter 2. Now, we'll go over to chapter 3, which is employee maintenance, adding new employees. Where you have new employees joining in, you need to add employees. Employee maintenance means there's maybe something you need to edit their profile and so on. When adding employees, you can also need to key in your previous employment entry. And finally, instant EA form if you have employees resigning. All right, in order to get there, it's located under payroll, employee maintenance. Okay, now we have a list of all your employees here. So in order to edit, what you need to do is just click on the pencil icon and it will bring you to this page. So you take a look at this page, just remember, these are the few tabs. Now, if you want to add a new employee joining us, I click on add new. So you see, it's the same form lah, right? So if you edit, the existing info will be there. If you click on new, it will be a blank form, right? So either way, add and edit will look the same. Therefore, I will show you one sample employee I have here. So in order to edit, just click on the pencil icon again, and then what you can do is edit. All right. So employee code. This employee code will be a running number. So based on the format that we set up here, so it will automatically generate a new number. And then next is the employee name, and then here are a few items that you can tick. So if this employee is a foreigner or a disabled person, remember to tick that because it will affect your tax calculation. Please remember. Now, Every tab you need to go through once and then fill up the relevant information. So first tab, personal profile. So under every tab, there is some items with a red asterisk. So this is the important one or compulsory data that you need to fill up. For example, you can fill up everything and then all the compulsory info only and then leave the rest blank because later you can come in it. So like the address and so on is not compulsory. However, it's better to have complete info to prevent unwanted issues next in the future. Okay, so fill up all the relevant fields, for example, their resident country, their address, and so on. So all very simple info. Marital status is important because the tax calculation will be different. And then finally, there is an emergency contact details at the bottom. Now we go to next tab. Again, this is spouse information, which is also important because it affects calculation as well. So if they are married, always remember to key in the info. And next we have our child relief point. Right, so now let me show you how do we do it. So by clearing off everything first. Okay, so let's say this employee, they are a married couple and they have children. So what you need to do is update how many children do they have and so on, because it also affects calculation. So in order to do that, you just click on the calculator and then you fill up this form. Okay, the form here has two options. One is 100% and one is 50%. So if this couple, husband and wife, are working and both are declaring, you put on 50%. Means husband declare 50%, wife declare 50%. Okay, if there is only one person working or only one person wishes to declare, you put it on the 100%. So normally we've seen the 100% more often. So let's talk about this. Okay, now let's say they have a child under the age of 18, one child. So what I do is I go to 100%, I key in 1. Okay, and then next, they do they have a 18-year-old and above studying? Okay, cert or matriculation? If not, we can go to the next step. All right, they have an 18 and above studying diploma. All right, they have one child. So again, I go to 100%, I key in 1. Right, so if they have a disabled child, studying, then you have different points, you key it accordingly. So now I have 2 child, so click on apply. So the system will then calculate, all right, number of child, you have 2 with the total relief point of 5, right? So this affects the tax calculation, so make sure this is always accurate. Right, other than that, you can scroll down to key in your spouse information, their working address and so on. Okay, now, third tab, employment detail. So most important tab. So here, there's a lot of compulsory fields, like for example, which department they are working from, their salary and all that. So wages type, we have a few options. This is because if you have, like for example, standard monthly pay, daily pay, hourly, and also piece rate are available. So select accordingly. Bank pay, payment by, we have bank transfer, cash or check. So select the one that you're using. Okay, now here, employee group. Employee group affects the entitlement for this staff. So for example, if I choose foreigner staff, you will get foreigner staff leave, balance, and so on. So select accordingly. Overtime. So if this employee is entitled to overtime, select the correct overtime table. If not, you can just clear it off. So meaning that this employee has no entitlement for OT. Now, join date is also important. So for example, I've selected the 3rd of March here. So when I select 3rd of March, this employee might have been working from January until February, correct? So we have our previous employment entry here. Okay, so this previous employment entry is important because it will affect your EA form calculation at the end if it's not filled up. All right, so what you need to do is you fill up. Okay, for example, since this employee joined on March, so January and February, I will need to fill it up. Right, so fill up accordingly based on the TP3 form or get any info from this employee. Now, resign date. So now we talk about resign date and also instant. So you have any staff resigning, what you need to do, very simple, just come over to this tab, select a date. For example, this employee is resigning on 31st of May. Select that and create, and you can tick generate instant EA. So if I tick this, when I click on save, the system will provide this EA form for the staff. Meaning that the system can provide EA form any time of the year so that you do not need to have any pending documents. Let's say resign May. You do not need to wait until next year, January, February to find and send this EA form to them to prevent unwanted issues like forgotten, cannot contact them, and so and so. Right? So this is how you set a resign date for the staff. Now we go to statutory information. So these are the standard EPF and so categories and all that. So select the one appropriate and you can edit the table if required. But normally it's not required because we're using the standard rates anyway. So category, income tax and so on, all the numbers that you need, like foreign worker levy, zakat number, if any. All right. So next, the addition and deduction. So here you can, if this employee or employees have any fixed deduction, meaning that they have this deduction all year long, you key in here, right? Any fixed deduction, key in here. So add payroll item, and we have a few options for you to choose from. You have optional deduction, you have BIK and so on. So anything that is fixed, you place them here, all right? Anything that is temporary, we'll cover that later. Now, other information, we just have a blank space for you to fill up any documentations that you need. For example, you want to track of their behavior, warning letters, and so on. You can upload them here. Bank accounts, the employees' bank account, so get the info from them and in here. So the system will then be able to generate bank payment files later. Attachment is where you just store a few documentations related to stuff. Okay, so maybe they have their resumes, their certs, anything like that, anything related to them, passports or documentations, you can submit here for your own future reference. Okay, so I'm done with this tab again. Once you're done, always remember to click on the Save button, all right? Now, Chapter 3 is already done. We've covered maintenance, adding new employees, your EP3, and also your instant pay. Now we go to Chapter 4, which is processing payroll. So in order to process payroll, we have a flow, right? So this flow goes by ad hoc payroll items first, time attendance, payroll process, and then your payment. Okay, in order to process payroll, you go again to payroll, and then we have our payroll management. And as you can see, it's a flow, right? So we process it one by one. Ad hoc payroll items. Let's take a look on what is this first. All right, so ad hoc payroll items, what you can see is there's a list. Okay, on the top here, what you can do is that it will show you which month that you've already processed. So from January to June, I've already processed, so it's marked as red. And then from July onwards, it's blank, meaning that I can still edit. Okay, now let's say I select on month of July, okay, and I want to add anything that is add-on for this stuff, meaning that, okay, this is not a fixed item. The one I mentioned, if fixed, you put it under that profile. So here, let's say this staff or multiple staff receive bonus on this month. Let's say only a few staff, let's say 1, 2, and 3. So these 3 staff receive bonus. I can add on bonus for these 3 particular employees. Or let's say you have all the staff receiving commission. Okay, commission, and then you say that all of my employees are related. Okay, what you can do is you can select all and add if it's a fixed item, or you can use our Excel import. We have a bulk import template file here. Download the template, fill up the Excel file, and resubmit the file. So if you have 1 or 2, you can key in manually here one by one, or if you have multiple, you can use the Excel file. So this is for something that is add-on, or what we call ad hoc. Maybe this month you have, next month you don't have, something like that, place it here. If anything that is fixed, you can put it under the employee profile. Right, now once that is done, you can go to the next tab, time attendance import. All right, so this time attendance, you can only import data, right? If you go for our premium system, you get our own time attendance module where the system can see and do everything itself. So with this, you can come to time attendance import and you can import any file. So as long as your company uses a time attendance system that can export to Excel file, this system will be able to read that data and compile to get the latest transaction. So for OT calculation, lateness calculation, and all that, it will be able to read your data. Right? If you're using, let's say, a punch card machine and you want to import, you can do that as well because we do provide a template. So download the template, fill up the template with the data from your punch card system, and you can submit into this software. So the system will then show you, like for example, which employee total working days, and all the summary will be here. You can edit if required. Now we will go to the most important step, which is payroll processing. Right, now, in order to process payroll, it will be similar to your previous system as well. Click on the top right icon, new payroll process, and then you can select, here we have more options. You have first half, Second half, bonus, commissions, and claim. So let's say your company, you process multiple processes in a month, which is very common. Let's say we do claims on the 15th of each month. After processing the claims, you want to do commission on the 20th of that month again. And then you do bonus 25th. And on the 28th, you want to process your salary. So in a single month, you may process multiple times. Your reports, your payment files can be combined, can be separated, right? So let's say we're going to do a standard month-end salary for the month of July. And then cut-off date. So this cut-off date affects your unpaid leaves only. What it means is that, for example, if I set my cut-off date on the 20th, meaning the employee is taking unpaid leave on the 21st onwards, this unpaid leave will be calculated on next payroll month. All right. So most companies will normally just go for last day. But depending on your process, you can select a different date. Right, description for your own reference, and next you can either process for all employees or select from a list of employees. Right, click on next to process, but I will just use the previous one that I have. Okay, so once you click on process, the system will bring you to this page. All right, so if you look a little bit similar, on the left side, you have a list of employees. On the right is all the details. Okay, now what you do here is you can just come and quickly take a look, double check on the figures and make sure that you do not make any mistake or anything like that. Right, so let me just select one employee, Wong Lily. Okay, so for Wong Lily, their basic salary is 3,000, and here there is no any extra allowance or commission. So if, for example, I made a mistake, I've forgotten to upload or change an allowance figure. So I can just tap on the allowance and I can add a new row. For example, I can select, let's say I want to provide her with attendance allowance, which is an amount of 150 ringgit, and then other things you fill up accordingly. So just click on save. System will have extra 150 allowance here. So anytime you make any changes, this button will appear, right? Recalculate. So if you do not click it when you commit, the system will also remind you again, no worries. But if you have done the changes, just click on recalculate, because it will change, it will calculate again based on EPFs also and PCB. So let me see if there's any changes. Let's say EIS is 590 right now. All right, so as you can see, EIS has gone up to 6 ringgit and 30 cents because there is a changes here. So again, remember, any big changes you want to make, you just click on here, you'll be able to edit, right? If you want to delete again, same, click on the figures and you can delete that calculation as well. All right, so just check on all the figures. If everything is okay, you can scroll down and you can get a summary amount, so the grand total for this month. And if you have management who says that, okay, before you confirm anything, download a payroll summary for me. So what you can do is you can get a summary report so that you can pass over to your management. So him or her can take a look and then it's okay. She says approve, she signed. And then you can come over here to click on commit all. So commit all, right, when you click on commit all, the system will then generate your pay slips, your bank payment files and all that, make it ready for submission. However, after you click on that and you find out, I made a mistake, you can actually just uncommit, click on yes, and then further edit again, right? No worries there. So now let me commit again. So once that is done, my pay slips are all ready, my files are readily submittable. What I can do next is, which is our next step, electronic payment. So electronic payment allows you to have the system to prepare your bank payment files. So when you come over to this page, all right, so you can select what payroll type you want to process, which is our month end for the month of June. And then I can come over to employee payment first. Employee payment, select the bank that you're using, click on download. So the system will then ask you which bank you're using, M2E, MES, M2U, you provide the one that you use, download. So the system will provide you with bank template file. This template file already contains the employee's account number, salary figures, and so on. So what you need to do is submit the file to your bank, go to the bank portal, submit, double check, make the approvals, and the bank will handle the rest. All right. So besides salary payment, your contribution payment can be done similarly as well. Also beware that depending on your bank, there might be charges, there might be no charges. So just check with your bank first. So if you do not want to pay extra charges for your contribution for EPFs also, you can have our secondary option, which is your going over to the standard EPF portal, SOXO portal, and submit the file that we provide. We will provide you with the latest contribution file that you can submit and then make FBX as per usual. So with this way, you can save the hassle of double checking and also quickly make your payments by FPX without any extra bank charges lah. So two options, either way will assist you to reduce your human errors and make sure that everything is done quickly. Alright, so your payment files is done. Now, once you submitted the payment files, the bank already cleared everything, you want to send your payslip out. So come back to your payroll process page, right? Go to the bottom and you see payslip. So what you do is you select send payslip now and click on apply. The system will then forward email to all your staffs notifying that their payslips is available. You can click on it to download, and the emails itself will be encrypted. There is a password. The password is something like your bank statement, where it has first character with followed by this symbol and then with your IC number. So it will encrypt the email with their personal password lah. Right. Now we have completed chapter 4. We will go to our final chapter, which is reports, leave, and payroll closing, and also EA4. So with our reports, we have them into two categories with one extra lah. All right. So government report, management report, and then your employee report. So for government report, it's all these standard borangs. Again, you go to report and search for your report. So income tax lah, this is the one people take a look more often. So with this system, right, we provide you all the readily submittable files. Like example, CP39, you need to provide the tax file. We have that available for you. Employees joining or leaving your company, you need to update this income tax portal. So you just come over here, download the file, and you'll be able to make submissions already. TP3, Borang E are all available, and not to forget our EA form as well lah. All right, EA form, later you'll see how to generate that. And then next will be the management report. So your payroll reports and all that will be available here. So this is more options than before. You have ability to customize and also better filters lah. So let's say I go to payroll summary. I only want to know by department. Let's say from our accounting department. And then from this accounting department, I only want to know my management staff. The standard staff, I do not want to know. So I can set multiple filters and preview. So it will be able to preview anytime. And then another great change is that last time you might need to back up from year to year. So now you can cross years, no issues. You can preview from February 2022 until June 2023, no issues from there. Right. Now we go back to our leave payroll closing. Okay, so this leave and payroll closing is only done once a year. Okay, so either on December or January, February, lah, right, when you want to get an EA form. So we just go through it quickly because by that time you might not remember already and contact our support for lah. All right, so in order to complete that leave payroll closing, you go to tools. Under options, you will have leave closing, payroll closing. So for leave closing is generally not that difficult, not that important, because this system utilizes a key in the leave entry. That's it. So there will not be any pending leaves lah. So here will always be empty. Make sure it's always empty, and then click on next. And the system will show you the entitlement or balances of these employees throughout. So what you can do is you can repeat adjust the figure, set an expiry date, and so on. Right. Other than that, you just confirm and save, and the system will let you know that you cannot edit anymore after saving. So no issues there. Now, leave closing is done for 2023. Now we go to payroll closing. So this is more important. Right. So now, in order to create a new payroll closing, just go on it again, top right corner, add new. All right. So now here, if you have anything that is pending that is stuck, it will appear here. So just now I've created a bonus for this Hyung. And then this is the month of May. So this I know is a mistake. So what I can do is I can just select it and delete. So if it's not a mistake, you can go back to this particular month and take a look. Maybe you need to process it, you process it. All right. So for my case, this is a mistake. I created an extra one. So just select on it, click on delete. So just to make sure everything is blank here, no pending processes, then you are good to go. Click on next. And then the system will show you a summary of the entire year for all of your employees. So what you can do is you can just get a report if needed. Else, you just click on confirm and save. Yes. So once I've done this step, my EA forms are actually already available. All right. So what we have here is our EA assistant right now. So EA assistant is for you to edit your EA form if required. All right. So this EA assistant, I want to warn you that you only make changes if you know what you are doing. All right. So this is very important. Do not make changes if you are not sure. right? This is available because, for example, maybe there is a few items that you need to add on. For example, under category B, you want to know the details of payment because this is not inputted earlier. So you can key in, let's say, this is bonus lah. This figures is for bonus. You can also edit this figure, however, it's not recommended unless you know what you are doing lah. All right. So you can edit anything, all the points and all that, the fund and all that, and then also the name of officer and so on. So if everything is all right, okay, you just click on save, and then you can scroll employee by employee to make the edits lah. Right. So let's say I'm done with everything. I make some changes. I click save. All right. Do you want to save? Yes. So once I save that, what I can do, if everything is done, I want to get my EA form out and available, I just click on commit. Yes. So by that time, the EA form will be available for all staffs. So how do I send it to my staffs? I go to report, income tax report, go to EA form, right? EA, and I can click send email. So again, it will be like our payslip fine. It will send to them, encrypt them with a password, and they can log in, unlock themselves lah. All right. So this is our EA generation lah. So this one you done only once a year. All right. Now, we are at the end of our presentation. So I would now like to open the floor for questions. So you can ask basic questions, for example, like how to do this, is this possible, and so on and so on. All right. Again, I remind you, this is just a crash course, a quick lesson on how to process, how to create, and all the basics of the system. If you have a little bit more, you want to understand, all right, how do I do this, do that a little bit more in detail, you can contact our support team at 03 3000 3000 or payroll@autocountsoft.com. So if you have a dealer, you can contact them instead as well. All right, now we open the floor for Q&A. So on the Zoom tab, you will be able to see there is a Q&A button. Use that to put any questions and we'll answer that question for you lah. All right, so we'll leave the floor open for any questions and I'll be right back to answer your questions. Right, so there is a question from Chun Tan. Can brief on BIK? Okay, so brief on BIK. So I assume you want to know how to fill up here lah. All right. So in order to set up BIK, so BIK is normally a fixed thing. So if it's fixed, you go to payroll, you go to your employee maintenance and select the employees that is receiving this BIK. So let's say, let me select one employee. Okay, so let's say this employee is receiving BIK. What you need to do is you go on to the addition and deduction. Like I mentioned earlier, if anything that is fixed, you place it here. So I go to addition deduction, and as I can see, there is allowance for the staff already. So I'll add on a BIK. So add payroll item. I go to BIK and I select. So let's say this employee has been provided with a car. So a very common one is car. So let's say motor car and fuel. All right. So I select motor car and fuel. Apply. So once I select, I've applied that, you appear here. I can click on the pencil icon again, and then I set a period. So BIKs are generally provided maybe every year, or fixed a few years lah. So let's say lah, I provide for 1 year, 12 months. So from January of 2023 until December 2023, and then the amount. So for the amount here, we do not have a listing, so you need to double check the government documentations because let's say they are provided with this kind of car with this value, how much would it be? All right, so you need to check on the list on yourself. For example, they are provided the basic car and this and that, and the total amount suggested is 500. So I will key in 500 and then click on save. So now their profile will be listed with a BIK of a motor car from January 23 until December 23, and then the amount is 500 lah, based on the fair value, depending on the car, the model, the year, and so on, right? So they need to check that with the government files and all that. Okay, so when I've added that, I click on save, and then that's done. The employee's profile will have a fixed BIK in their profile based on whatever you entered here. Okay, question from Vector. Oh, hi Vector. Okay, so leave closing, there are two different methods. Okay, so yeah, so leave closing two methods. This is because as you can see, you have one December cutoff date and one is real time. So meaning that if I want to close my leave early, I can do it now. So for example, now is May. When I select real time, meaning I will close it until May. And then next is I have a December cutoff. So meaning that it's until December year end. So if your company, your, how do you call that, your leave year, so for the calculation period is from January to December, normally you just do it on December cutoff lah, or during December you run it, so you'll be still under December. Because some companies, let's say their cutoff date is from January, their period is from May to May 1 year, so maybe you can utilize the time lah, right? Other than that, it will function similarly lah, right? So as you can see, if I select December cutoff, it will require my month-end payroll to be processed for December. If I go real time, meaning that it will based on today's data lah, right? So either way, it functions the same because most of the time when you process your leave closing, it will also be around December. So this real time is for those companies who maybe they want to close their leave early. Maybe on November they want to close already. So they can use their real time processing. Right. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you. Right, we have another, let's say 9 minutes. You open the floor the 9 minutes until 11 for the Q&A session. If there is no more, we will end the session. Yeah, correct. Yes, this express plan can also link with our AutoCount account. Correct. So for cloud accounting, we have it here. For the on-premise accounting, we also have that lah.